It is the Preacher and the Prodigy podcast. It is week 10 of the 2022 college football season. We're in double digits now. We're in week 10, and this is an interesting weekend. But let's get the score recap. What is the season record right now for you and for me?
So
you think you picked up one game, right?
Let's check. I think I did it. I'm gone 25 and I'm now 25 and 22, and you're 28 and 19. So we're both doing good against the spread.
We're making money in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be making millions. And I still have 3 games to catch up on you. That's the same as it was last week. Any surprises? I know last week you said that Georgia would beat Florida 41-20. The final score of that game was 42-20. So kudos to you for getting that game right. Barely covering the spread on that one.
Kind of got pretty close to the spread of Michigan State.
Yeah, that one was also 22.5, and Michigan State covered by a half a point, so that had people in Vegas mad.
But there's one I missed by just like a half a point too, right? What was that again?
I think that was we had a backdoor cover with Penn State and Ohio State.
That's what it was.
A dumb touchdown.
It was the backdoor cover.
You also...
Because I had the Buckeyes.
You also quoted that Tennessee would destroy Kentucky, and that is what they did, 44-6 in Knoxville. Aside from that, the Big 12's the Big 12. 48 zip. You never know. We got another game we're gonna pick there in the Big 12 today.
So here's my setup for this week. Our heroes Ty and Dan on the Solid Verbal, they use like a S name for each Saturday when they pick games. This is Shrug Saturday for me, because I hear these spreads, I hear these numbers of these games, and I have absolutely no convictions at all. I have no idea. This is last couple of weeks I felt like, okay, I got this. This is, and I've done pretty well. I'm 9 games over 500, but this week this could be 5-0, could be 0-5. I have very little conviction about any of these picks this week.
You don't know?
But let's get into it.
All right, starting off, we have Wake Forest and NC State. Wake Forest after getting blown out on the road by Louisville. Louisville scoring 5 touchdowns in the third quarter, I think I saw. Going up against NC State without their starting quarterback, all ACC quarterback. Devin Leary having to go between guys.
Mm-hmm.
Interested to see who the starting quarterback for the Wolfpack will be there.
Who did they put in? A young guy who could really, really run.
Yeah,
well.
They had 2 running quarterbacks, dual threat quarterbacks, and they did okay.
Can't remember the name, but one of them was recruited by Michigan at one point too.
Yeah, Wake Forest on the road is a 3.5 point favorite. You got to go first on this one.
I'm going to take Wake for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Other than the teams that are without their starting quarterbacks don't always do as well. So, but Wake's not on their starting quarterback either from the start of the year, are they? They lost their starter.
Sam Hartman gone?
Oh, well, maybe not. He was out for a while.
Maybe. I don't...
Give me the Deeks
sure.
for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Deeks win this game 31-26.
Yeah. All right, sure. I'll take NC State for no reason other than that it's a home game, and last week it helped.
And you can't gain any ground
games.
on me if you pick the same games I picked.
Last week it helped with home games. Kansas State won at home, Penn State covered at home. Tennessee blew out at home. Home games continued to ride the home turf. Home field, home balls.
So this is pretty much offense against defense, right? Wake runs the claw offense. NC State, Dave Dorn knows how to coach defense. Contrasting styles. Give me Wake.
Something's got to give, and we have no clue what it's going to be. So,
which means you get to pick the Big 12 game.
Dang it, man. All right, we head back to Kansas State, where
the Little Apple.
Where the home Kansas State Wildcats, as I said before, they had a huge win at home over Oklahoma State.
They decided to play football after halftime, which has been, it was just a revolutionary idea by Coach Chris Kleeman after the popcorn break to play more football.
Well, they're going to have...
And it worked. It was brilliant.
They're going to have the Longhorns at home, who are coming off a bye week. They've had a pretty good season so far. They're in the top 25 right now. You really wanted to get that win over Alabama, although it doesn't look as good now as it would have back in September. But on the road, Texas is a 2.5-point favorite. My turn. Give me Texas. I have no clue why. I just think that, Quinn Ewers could just bust that defense, and I don't know. Quinn Ewers versus Will Howard. I'd take Quinn. Bijan Robinson versus Deuce Vaughn. That will be the most intriguing matchup, position matchup, maybe of the day on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Two All-American running backs. Both of them are really shifty and can hit pretty hard. Deuce Vaughn 5'6", Bijan Robinson is like 5'8" or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a fun position battle to watch.
The I want to be like Blake Corum Bowl.
Man, yeah. Yeah, I'll take Texas. I think that where Kansas State is good, Texas is slightly better, and I think that's going to give them the edge. Texas does have some defensive players too.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. So nobody does in the Big 12. Everything about me says after what Kansas State just did to Texas, or to Oklahoma State rather.
I don't care.
And the transitive property that Oklahoma State and Texas were so close. Everything in me wants to say, go Wildcats. What I want to pick in this one, and I want to pick Texas. I'm going to pick Texas, but what I want to do is I want to pick Texas 65-63 in the 8th overtime, but that would not be a cover, so I can't pick that because it's a 2.5-point favorite. So I will go Texas by 3 in double overtime.
College football, everybody. Welcome. It's week 10.
59-56 Texas in double overtime. Welcome
Game of the
12.
week.
Yes.
Who cares about Georgia? All right. We are going up to South Bend, where the 5-3 upstart Fighting Irish are going to have a big home test against the number 4, should be number 5 ranked Clemson Tigers. This game, Kirby Smart started this way at Georgia, 4-3, and started to build this program back. I can kind of see that with Marcus Freeman. He's starting to get some good convincing wins after the weird losses to Marshall and to Stanford. He's starting to build things back up. Back like they used to be with Brian Kelly. But going up against Clemson, this is going to be a real test for them. This is, I think, not entirely defined their season since it's Marcus Freeman's first head coaching job there. But if they get a win, this will propel them sky high to the top 25 at least. And still possibly outside chance at making a New Year's Six Bowl if they win out. So I think it's a huge game for them.
So I have to pick first on this. I think of the 5 games, this is the game I feel probably the most conviction about. I'm taking the Irish. I think that there are some lingering questions about who's going to be quarterback at Clemson. Again, transitive property. Clemson and Syracuse was a game that, apart from a few flags, could have gone the way of the Syracuse Orange. And then Notre Dame just housed them up in their stadium. Again, Notre Dame is one of the most mysterious teams of the year, finding ways to lose to Marshall and Stanford, and then just take apart North Carolina, who, by the way, looks really good right now.
They have a great quarterback, Drake May. He's been balling.
Yeah, he's sort of creeping into
outside chance at the Heisman.
Creeping in his career, definitely. Like he's a redshirt freshman or something like that.
Something like that.
So really good. I'm going to take the Irish to show up in this game. I don't think Clemson is the 4th best team in the country. I'm not saying Michigan should be ranked number 4 ahead of them. I'm just saying I don't think Clemson's that good. And I've said that from the beginning of the year. Their defense is fantastic, and obviously Jordan Shipley is a player. But I think they're not. Will Shipley, excuse me. Will Shipley is not as good as they have been. I'm taking the Irish to not only to cover but to win the game.
But you are saying Michigan should be 4, right? You're kind of mad after what happened Tuesday.
So here's what I would not. It wouldn't punch people if they said after what Tennessee did at LSU, 45-0 in Death Valley. You could make an argument that Bama should be number 4. I wouldn't be mad at you for that. If Michigan and Alabama played right now, I think Bama's better.
I think so.
So I know I'm not necessarily saying Michigan should be number 4. I'm just saying Clemson shouldn't be. So your pick.
Tennessee beat LSU 45-0
in Death Valley.
For some reason, I don't remember that, and I kind of want to believe you. I think that Notre Dame is going to pull this one out. Yeah, we'll both be cheering hard for Notre Dame because it greatly increases.
I don't like either of these teams. I don't know if I'll be cheering at all. But
well, I will.
You keep talking. I'm going to check that LSU Tennessee score a minute while you're talking.
I will be hoping for Notre Dame to get this win, because it greatly increases the chances that Michigan gets in, especially if we lose to Ohio State by like 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is just going to be a game that everybody in the program, the college, knows that this is just got to be the game that they start winning. This is going to be the start of their big games, and that Notre Dame's going to pull this one out. I got them 31-28.
Okay, I was wrong about Tennessee beating LSU 45-0. It was 40-13. Excuse me. I don't know what I was thinking about. But still, just housed them. I think let's just kind of look into that game for just a minute. I don't know if we can see what the score was. It was 37-7 at one point, Tennessee. So anyway, that's simply my point on Bama. But you're taking Notre Dame as well?
Yeah, I will also take Notre Dame. Just talked about them in Death Valley, LSU. They have a huge home game against the number 6 ranked Alabama. You think they could be ranked number 4?
I think you can make that case.
But this is going to be a 6 o'clock night game. After what Brian Kelly has been able to do to turn after last season being okay, to be able to turn the momentum to
after
get
that
into
Florida
the top
State
10.
loss, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that Florida State LSU game might have been the wildest game, maybe besides Tennessee Alabama of the year. That game was crazy.
And 14 Big 12 games. Apart from those, it was one of the best.
Alabama's a 13.5-point favorite on the road at night in Death Valley. Give me LSU. I think that Alabama will win this game. I think that it's going to be... I think Alabama... I'm thinking a backdoor cover almost. Alabama will look like the better team, but LSU's going to hang in there for a little bit longer than they should. And I'll take Alabama in this one 40-33. It won't be a super convincing win for Alabama, but you'll be able to tell by the end of the game who's really the better team, and that's Alabama. And I think they're going to pull this one out on the road. I don't see them covering 14 points.
I don't either. I agree with you. I think that you're right. I do think Bama wins, but I've seen this Bama LSU series for 20 years or so now, going back, and it's a hard fought game. They played for the national championship one year, and just two physical teams. And I do think you're right that Brian Kelly's got it turned around. I agree with your assessment. I actually even agree with the backdoor cover. I think this game could be a 20-point game, and then Brian Kelly, just to sort of try to prove to his guys that they get a late touchdown against the second or third string of Alabama's defense. I don't agree on the numbers there, 40-33 or whatever. I think it's going to be lower than that. I think it'll be a game in the 30s and the 20s, but I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take LSU to cover and Bama to win.
Well, I also think that this is a game that Jaden Daniels, even with like Will Anderson on one side and I'm blanking down on the other guy's name, but another outside linebacker who's all SEC on the other side, some reason he'll still be able to throw for 350 yards and 2-3 touchdowns. Maybe only one pick, like this could be a game where he shouldn't do good and he'll do great. But Bryce Young will be too much for the LSU defense.
I think I'm more convinced that they're going to ride Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm just not sure Bryce Young is 100% right now. So, but anyway, I'm going to agree with you.
Well, I mean, he might not be 100%, but what's on the LSU secondary? There's not a lot there.
And it's a secondary, and it's also the stadium, Death Valley at night. We've always said that's one of our road trips in our bucket list, to go to a Death Valley game at night. It's rocking down there. All right, final game of the weekend. We're kind of going along in this episode.
The big one.
Probably the game of the year.
So far, yeah.
At this point.
The number one team in the land, Tennessee. I don't know if I ever thought I'd say that in recent
Especially after
years.
they almost lost to Pitt earlier in the year, but
You don't know this year. Anything goes. At the third ranked Georgia, there was a flip flop there with the college football playoff rankings. And Ohio State moved to 2. But those 3, I think, are the big 3. Usually it's Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State, and maybe Clemson. But this year, Tennessee flipped with Alabama, and Clemson's not looking as dominant. So this is a very big game for the college football playoff. I've heard numerous people say that this game is more important for Georgia for reasons. And
yeah, Georgia needs to win the game more than Tennessee. Tennessee probably had, but one of these teams has pretty much got a clear path to playing in the SEC championship game as a result of the
Well, we can see the standings right now. I think the winner of this game has pretty much a guaranteed chance with the way the rest of the SEC East has been looking, especially with the next best team being Kentucky, which Tennessee took the top off, and Georgia has been able to handle easily in recent years. The line on this game is Georgia by 8. I think that is the right line, but at first glance, it doesn't seem like that should be it. But when you think about it, it is a 2:30 home game between the hedges, and I just think that I like this line a little bit.
Hey, too, I wouldn't bet $1 on it. I mean, I have no idea, but I'm gonna ride the Magic. Give me Heupel and the Vols to stay within 8. I think that they could just rise up and win the doggone game too. I'm gonna go Vols, and won't be shocked to be wrong to find that Georgia just has a deeper roster. They've been recruiting better for longer, and that they could wear away Tennessee. But I think just the explosion of Tennessee. If you turned on halftime and you saw it was 28-13 Georgia, you wouldn't think that necessarily Tennessee's out of that game yet, because of the way that they can attack and the way that the defense looked against Kentucky. I mean, whoo boy. I'm going to go with the Vols here. Again, I don't feel strongly about it. I'm kind of confidence level is 51 out of 100, but I'm going to go with I'm going to ride with Rocky Top on the road between
this doesn't
the edges.
seem a game where Georgia can cover 8, but it doesn't seem a game like Tennessee can win.
I'm just going to disagree. Yep.
Well, I will agree with you. I think Tennessee's going to cover, not to win, but to cover. I don't think that Georgia has enough to outdo by pretty much basically double digits of what Hendon Hooker has, even though they have
Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers. They can score points.
They can score points, but I don't think they'll be able to outscore the opponent by, technically not, but 10 points basically. And their offense is great, but with what Hendon Hooker brings to the table and Jalen Hyatt.
What is the over/under in this game? Do you remember?
I think it 65.5 actually. I checked that doing the college pick'em. It's actually been going really well for me. 65.5 is the over/under on this game, which means
so it's a 36-27
something like that. I would probably take the over on that. But I think that this game turns out to be a 41-35 kind of a game where Georgia pulls it out. I'm going high-scoring games this weekend. And I think that both defenses, the old saying, a great offense beats a great defense. And I think that's what's going to happen here, where Georgia's offense is better than Tennessee's defense. Tennessee's offense is better than Georgia's defense. And they're just it's going to be tug of war, and eventually Georgia's going to pull it out with the physicality of that line. So.
Well, put me down as feeling absolutely, completely not confident at all, but predicting Tennessee to win the game outright.
Shrug week.
It's shrug week. Any other comments on college football this season? Who's your Heisman Trophy finalist right now? If you bring four guys
I bring 4 guys to the table, I'd say Hendon Hooker and C.J. Stroud. They're obviously up there.
Better boy BC, is he going?
I want to bring Blake Corum. I'll put him at the 4.
DTR, maybe a little bit of the shine came off after Oregon.
Maybe not. I'm missing a guy.
Well, you're missing the reigning winner.
Yeah, but I don't think he's up there. Caleb Williams, that's who it is. He's actually been doing superb. And there's one guy under the radar, TCU, Quentin Johnson. That guy is the Calvin Johnson of college football. He's fast, he's big, he's tall, he has great hands.
Sideline
He
killer.
is Max Duggan's number one guy in that offense, and I think that he probably isn't putting up the numbers that he should be to get to say be a Heisman candidate. But if you put him on Tennessee's offense, he'd definitely be, in my mind, a top 4-3 guy.
Well, in the transfer portal, maybe he will be next year. Who knows? And any comments for other Big Ten games? Iowa, Purdue. That game will finish 5-3, something like that. Michigan at Rutgers. I don't know if I wouldn't be shocked if Rutgers doesn't score a touchdown in that game. They're bad.
I also wouldn't be shocked. Man, never mind. I won't say it.
I
don't think Rutgers is going to cover that game.
don't either.
But
Michigan State, Illinois. Michigan State down 8 guys.
A Michigan State Illinois game, Big Ten Network. That's going to be a brawl. I'd like to see how Illinois' run defense, especially, and defense overall, still holds up, and how they'll be able to run the ball.
I'll tell you what, they were impressive the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
lose to Indiana, and then everybody else there just sitting on them.
You know, like, not to brag, but Michigan, I thought, did pretty well running the ball against Michigan State. I'd like to see how Illinois fares in that particular category.
It's got a good back.
So,
all right, so we shall see as we head toward crunch time here. You know, some of these games
rivalry week is starting to
almost like quarterfinal type games. Tennessee, Georgia. Yeah. I mean, Michigan, Ohio State should be that if both manage to make it there. You know, and maybe a Oregon USC game in the Big 12. They got rid of their championship.
Well,
didn't they?
no. Well, they might have gotten rid of it.
They did.
But I think they, for sure, they got rid of the conferences. But if they did have a Big 12
just
game,
the top two.
I think it's the top two. That's right.
Yeah, I think they got rid of the divisions.
Northwestern College got a big game this weekend against the 15th ranked Midland
Vikings.
Yeah, their defense.
Or are they the Warriors?
I think they're Vikings, but their defense has been solid except for Morningside. But what do you expect? And Northwestern has not had a close game since that Morningside game. Don't even call the Dordt game close. We shut them out.
All right, so that's week 10. I'm the Preacher.
I'm the Prodigy.
So long, and peace.